Are you thinking about buying a new construction home in New Jersey in 2023? But maybe you're thinking about the pros and the cons? Well, this video is just for you. Hey, if this is your first visit to the channel and you're looking to learn everything there is to know about the Midtown direct suburbs of New York City, then subscribe below and tap the notification bell so you can be the first to hear about the current market conditions here in New Jersey and New York. Hey, I'm Jeff. The team and I, we get calls every day from people just like you who are thinking about moving to one of New York City's amazing suburbs, and we love it. So whether they're moving in 7 days or 7 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email so we can help you make an easy, stress-free move to the New York City area. So as I was saying, if you're thinking about buying a new construction home in the New Jersey, maybe even New York area in the coming months, we'd love to help you out. But first, we're talking today about the pros and cons of new construction, specifically the actual building itself. We'll talk a little bit about ownership situation there, but overall it's really about the physical asset itself. So the first pro that I would think of when buying a new construction home, when I say new construction home, I mean actually like physically brand new, a builder just finished it. I'm not talking about something that someone else purchased new. I'm talking about purely you're buying it directly from a builder. Could be like a large builder like Toll Brothers, or it could be a one-off builder that does custom homes. So that's what I'm talking about. So just wanted to specify that. So the first pro I would think of, and most people would, is you're getting a brand new, clean, beautiful new construction. Now, depending on the builder's quality level and so on, that's all gonna depend on what you see and their experience. But in general, you're getting something that no one's ever lived in, and it's gonna look beautiful. So the other thing to think about is because it's so new, there's no maintenance really for the first couple of years, hopefully. Now, we'll talk about the cons in a little bit, but hopefully if everything's good, there's no maintenance. Now, you might want to do a home inspection even though it's new, just to see if they didn't miss anything that looks a little bit funny. But overall, it should be, you know, on average, it should be fine. So what I'm trying to get into here is you're not gonna have to replace the roof right away. You're not gonna have to redo the electrical. These are things you see with fixer-upper homes that, you know, it's obvious, like this is old, we need to redo it. So that's a nice thing. So low maintenance and sort of low repair costs up front, so that's great. Another thing to think about that's really nice is you have the ability to potentially customize. Now it depends on when you're buying in terms of the builder's timeline. So let's say you get in a little bit early, they haven't done all the finishes, maybe you can pick tile, maybe you can pick some trim work. Well, there's also upgrades, so it could be well along, but you want to add a certain cabinet here or there. Those are the nice things about working with a builder that you can add down the road, or if it's early enough, you can change certain finishes like color of hardwood, stuff like that. So that's something that's really nice about buying a new home. One of my favorite things about buying a new home is the new building codes, the better building codes compared to 50, 60, 20, 100 years ago, whatever it is. And the big thing that building codes really work with that's changed the most in the last number of years is the level of insulation, the overall energy use of the home. That's one of the big concerns these days. So you're gonna get better windows that are double pane, well insulated, well sealed. You're gonna get better insulation. Hopefully it's a 2x6 minimum pocket that they're filling with insulation. And it could potentially be like a green building system. You never know, depending on where you're buying and what the builder is speccing out. My favorite these days is Passive House certification, or maybe they built to that standard but they didn't certify it. There's also LEED green home building, these different accreditation companies. So that's something that's really nice, and you're gonna get, you know, something that's way better performing than an older house that has 2x4 studs. You know, the insulation's old and tired, maybe it's even fallen down in the pocket and it's not super insulating anymore. And the best part, maybe, possibly, is the warranties. Now, if you're buying in New Jersey, the home builders are required to give you a certain warranty. That's on the overall package. And I'm just gonna read here for a second. I'll put it up on the screen to see what you're actually getting. So coverage periods. The warranty protects your home from the time of sale, which is the closing, from defects in materials and workmanship for 1 year. 2 years, you get coverage against defects in the design and installation of heating, air conditioning, plumbing and electrical systems, so that's really good. Now 10 years you have protection against major structural defects, so that's what New Jersey is requiring. Now other states, you have to check what the local situation is there, and also you want to check and be familiar with what your statute of limitations is, because if there is something that ever comes up, you want to be familiar, speak with a lawyer. It's not something that you need to do right away, but just if there is a problem, you want to become familiar with how much time you have to make a case against that. But in general, New Jersey, you're getting that from a new build. Now be careful, because if you're buying something that's renovated and they started with the existing foundation, you want to sort of figure out the nuance there, and maybe that warranty isn't required for something that's just been gut renovated. It's not considered a new home, so you want to be careful there. Make sure you understand that distinction. So that's on the home buying. Now that's on the physical structure. Now you also have appliance warranties, which is nice. So you have, like, typically you have your oven, you have your hot water heater, you have your microwave, refrigerator. All these usually come with like a 1 year manufacturer warranty, so be aware of that, and you'll probably want to sign up for any registrations with those in case they have to email you, updates and so on. So what's your favorite pro of new construction? Why don't you let us know down in the comments? We can get a conversation started. So what are the cons? Well, one of the cons that comes with what I just described, that whole beautiful package of things, is the cost. It's going to come at a cost to you. Now, I would look at that as a sort of middle thing. You want to keep in mind that you're buying the full price of the home. It's a top of the line home. Maybe depending on the area, it's going to reflect the price. But you're buying that with a 30-year amortization. So you're able to split up. Let's compare it to an older home where you're going to have to buy it for a certain amount, renovate it, and so on. So the purchase price is lower. Whatever that delta is between the lower purchase price and the higher purchase price of a new home, that's getting amortized over 30 years. So you're splitting that up into little chunks. So that's something that's really nice for your wallet and your cash flow, which we talk about debt to income ratio in some of our other videos. So keep that in mind. If you're buying a renovation project, or you're planning to renovate, a lot of those renovations are going to come out of pocket, or you might get like a home equity line of credit, which is going to be a higher interest rate. So keep that in mind. So that's a con because it is more expensive, but it's sort of a plus because you are getting to finance that entire amount and split it up over the 30 years. So another con about buying new construction, and this isn't everyone, but this can be a con for some people, is that they think it lacks charm, or maybe it's sort of cookie cutter. Now, it all depends on your taste. If you like something that's historic and has that, history to it, you want to have the provenance of the property and understanding like how it evolved over time. Maybe it has an addition here or some sort of story to it, or you like the dings and dents because it feels worn and more comfortable. Maybe you like the proportions of older homes, so on. That's obviously going to be a personal preference. So that might be a con for you, or it could be something that doesn't bother you. A small thing to think about is landscaping. Like when you buy a new home, sometimes the builder didn't think about landscaping. It's like the last thing they did. Some towns require landscaping to be designed and sort of permitted, to actually get the permit, I mean. But if it's a small builder that's just doing a one-off home, maybe he didn't think about that. Or even if they did think about it, it's all super small stuff. It hasn't grown in yet. So there might be some work there for you to think about. With an older home, that's all usually grown in and either needs some trimming or just some upkeep. But with a new home, you might have to keep in mind like, okay, this needs to be worked on, or it just looks kind of small and dinky at that point in time. But there's also sort of a plus side to that, which is you get better light. There's not as many leaves blocking your windows, so that could be a pro actually. All right, so the other problem with new construction is the closing date. Depending on when you're finding the home, if it's a quick move in, like some of the Toll Brothers we've shown, you can move right in within the, if it's available, you start your offer, you start your loan application. You don't have to really worry about closing date. But if it's something that's further out where they're starting from scratch, you're making a lot of customizations and it's not available yet, then you have to think about closing date, and that's sort of a moving target because you're dependent on when the builder can finish. Now that has impacts obviously on your time, but it also has impacts on your money because the interest rate lock is going to be a little bit tricky there. if you find a really good rate, you might want to lock it in, but then it's going to keep expiring and you're going to have to pay fees to extend it. So you want to be careful of that and just kind of be mindful of, you know, this is your dream home, you're getting exactly what you want, but it could end up costing you over time because interest rates could go up. Now, conversely, they could go down, which could work to your benefit, but we just don't know because we can't see the future. So the biggest con of new construction, which, and I don't want to scare anyone here because obviously a lot of builders have good reputations. It all comes down to a specific situation. But the fact is, with older homes, you kind of know what's wrong. You know, you can see, okay, it's an old foundation, it's cracking, we need to address that. We can put a dollar amount on it. Or we know, okay, the roof was done 30 years ago, it needs a new roof. We can get an estimate for that. Now, there could be latent defects in older homes, but it's sort of harder to see latent defects in new homes because maybe there hasn't been enough time that's passed for those things to crop up and get your attention. So things like whether the insulation was done properly, waterproofing with showers and so on, also waterproofing with flashing on the outside of the home, underneath windowsills, all these little things. You would think, okay, it's a new home, these should be done properly, and they probably were. Don't get me wrong, I'm just giving you things to think about. But maybe something happened, you know, they missed something, or something slipped up. Again, I'm not pointing any fingers here, and hopefully this isn't a problem for you, but let's just say there is something that happened. It's a latent defect, we don't know yet, and it's just not showing up because there hasn't been enough rains in the month yet, or there hasn't been enough wind to really feel the draft, or whatever it is. That is something that could come up, and we just don't know about it yet. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind. Look out for things over time, because if they build up without you noticing them, then we're going to have trouble getting that warranty. It's 10 year for structural, but then you only have, say, 2 years for HVAC, 1 year for, you know, material defects and workmanship. So you want to keep an eye on that right away, so that if there is anything, you can get in touch with the builder and you can resolve that quickly. And the biggest thing about that is, because you're under the warranty, it's not really going to be a financial issue necessarily, but it could be just sort of a convenience issue where now you've got construction people coming back in, maybe they're making some dust, you got to move furniture around, move the carpet, so on. So keep that in mind. So what do you think? Is it worth buying new construction in 2023? What are your sort of feelings on these issues, like charm and cookie cutter, or maybe you like the newness? I think for me, green building, or at least getting the most updated code with insulation and energy efficiency and so on, I think that's the biggest benefit for me personally, being interested in green design and so on. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to get a conversation going with everyone. I hope you found that helpful. Let's get in touch if you have any questions. I've shown some interesting new developments going on in the Midtown Direct area recently. I'll link to them here, and you can also search on the channel and check out some of the homes. If you're interested, definitely get in touch with us. We'd love to help you get into one of those, and certainly go on some tours. So I'm Jeff, thanks for spending time with me, and we'll see you in the next video.